Okay, so this is the part I think a lot of people have been waiting for, which is how we separate the seedlings out separately into their 4-inch pots. So today is March 16th, and this flat right here is the one that you watched me plant a few weeks ago. These have been out in the sun, and I think if you can get a good look at the color of the foliage, they just look really healthy. These have had no fertilizer, they've just had water. So you can set your workspace up any way you want, but once you see how I do this, you'll be able to decide for yourself how you want to do it. And what I've started doing is just putting sticks in for the varieties. So what I'm going to do today is transplant a cell of Cherokee Purple. So if you want to take a look here and how I pop it out, I'm going to reach from beneath. I'm just going to squeeze it gently, and then I'm just going to lift it up. So here is a grouping of Cherokee Purple seedlings. There's a lot here, and there are various heights, and that's fine because you'll see how I take care of those. So the first thing I'm going to do, since what I like to do is have flats of 15 of the same plant, I'm dry filling into 15 4-inch pots. Actually, I'm going to do a 16th one because, as I said, I wanted to show you how I deal with the ones that are immature. I want to get the soil up pretty close to the top on these. Alright, we're just about there with our 15. If we were going kind of bucket brigade and Sue and I were working together on this, sometimes we would fill the whole table with filled 4-inch pots. So the important thing to note here is they're dry filled. Another key thing is you need to know what variety you're working with, and I've checked that. So this is a part that I want to show people, show you really carefully. So if I just gently squeeze this, the plants start coming apart, and you'll see that I'm not all that gentle here, and I can actually start taking some of the bigger ones and start counting them out if I want. I'm just going to lay them here. Yes, some of the roots are breaking a little bit, but the plants really don't mind it. You remember that tomato plants set roots all along their stems. And what I want to do for this flat is try to get my hands on the 15 or so biggest seedlings. I'm probably going to plant a double flat of these, and these are showing true leaves. This is a little bit early. I might wait another week for these. But I just wanted to get this film clip made to show people what I do, and these will be fine. So what I'm doing now is taking ones of fairly uniform size, and I'm just laying them on top of the growing medium. I haven't pre-made any holes at this point. There are two different methods I've used for that, one of which is I'll make 15 holes and then tuck the plant in, but I actually find it works just fine if you do it this way. And again, I think the key is a lot of people really baby their tomato seedlings, and hopefully what this will show you is you can be pretty aggressive with them and just get them separated. There's a seed coat on that plant, so I'm just going to tug it off to separate the cotyledons. Let's get a couple of more big ones. Okay, so now I've got my 15 plants, and what I'll do when I'm done here is track how many seedlings I've got so I can check my germination. Just lay it on the dirt, use my thumb, and push it in right up to where the bottoms of the plants, the bottom of the cotyledon leaves almost hit the dirt. And so I'm just kind of pushing at the bottom of the plant, pushing either in the middle of the stem or where the roots meet. That's a tricotyledon actually, which is kind of interesting. Just happens now and then. I don't think the fruit are going to be any different from it. And you can see we work pretty quickly here to get. And so for me it's all in the thumbs. And if you were using if you pre-wet the mix, this wouldn't work as well, and you'd end up having some resistance. And even if you plant them a little deeper than you want, it doesn't really matter as long as you've got some of the cotyledon leaf. The critical point is not to damage the growing tip, because if you were to take a plant and sever it right there, no plant would go back. The key part is the growing tip. So once I've got my 15 plants, actually I've got my 15, but what I want to show you is if some of these are a little bit small and I don't want to put them in separate plants yet, I'll take maybe as many as 10 of these, and then I'll just take a pot and I'll just lay them in like this. And I'll have a pot like this with maybe a dozen of these younger seedlings. Just separate them out. Here's another kind of baby here. So that's 4 in there. Let's put in a few more. I'm looking for ones that are around the same age, because what you're going to want to do is be able to transplant all of these at about the same time. And what's kind of amazing is these guys were the first out of the ground and they were the largest, but these tiny plants are going to catch right up to them, and by the time they're big enough to go into the ground, you wouldn't know that they were behind. So there we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 plants in there. Then the only other thing is I've got warm water, and the reason it's warm is because it will absorb into the growing medium more easily. And I just go around the outside and near the stem and get a good amount of water on this. And what I'll do, I'll show you in a second, I'm not going to put these outside, but I've cleaned off an area of my garage floor. These will stay there for maybe 2, 3, 4 days depending on the weather, and then I would ease them out into the sun, because they've certainly had a bit of a surprise growing all nicely together there, and now they've all been separated individually. There was a little bit of root damage, but like I said, when the plants are this young, they'll grow out of it in no time. And let me just get this one. Okay, and then what I'll do is I've got my pre-made labels. This is writing out labels. I'm sure a lot of people who are more computer savvy than I would have them. You could use a printer on the computer to print out your labels. I find it's a good thing to do when you're watching TV and or you just want to fill up the time with something. You can get through a lot of these pretty quickly. And there we go. We've got our 15 Cherokee Purples plus the extra. So these will now go into a basket bottom flat, and I like that type of flat because you don't get any water accumulation. And I'll show you what I do to the flat with the extra ones in a minute. And then these will just go right over here, sit in a little bit of filtered sun for a while and adjust for a couple of days. And then for the ones with the small ones that are catching up, I start trays where it has nothing but the ones that are a little bit younger. And so I'll have several of these they start usually with the alphabet. I start with the A's, and they'll all have the second round. And so what I'll just do now is plant the next round of these, because it looks like we ended up with quite a few seedlings. And right here, if you want to take a look at it, you'll remember that I used this method on the lettuce and the spinach. And this, I just transplanted the lettuce and the spinach less than a week ago, and it's growing like crazy. And the beets are looking really good as well. So that's about it for now.